Powered by Riverside FM.
Welcome to another edition. You know where we're at right now. I shouldn't even have to say it. This is another edition of Unconventional Playbook. The UP Nation, stand up. Stand up, UP Nation. Minnesota Vikings Nation, stand up. Skull Nation, stand up. The Minnesota Vikings defeat the Green Bay Packers 27-25 in a dominant fashion. It was a dominant fashion up until the late third quarter into the fourth quarter. We gave them opportunities to get back into the game, but the Minnesota Vikings found a way to pull it out. And let me tell you, I'll take it. So before we get on the negative vibe about how we let the Packers get back into the game and how they had a chance to win and the defense at the end of the game, there's a lot of things that I want to get at. But let's enjoy the win and some of the positive stuff that we saw. Win, Minnesota Vikings fans, UP Nation. Tell me, put it in the comments. When have you ever seen a Minnesota Vikings quarterback deal like that? It has been a long time. You didn't see that sort of play from Kirk Cousins in the 6 years that he's been here. Now listen, I'm not saying Kirk Cousins didn't have any good games, but you've got to think about the expectations of this game, the pressure going into this game. A lot of the national pundits were talking about the Green Bay Packers were going to win this game. The Green Bay Packers were favored until late coming into this game, and Sam Darnold was dealing. This is what I wanted to see from Sam. I told you last podcast that I wanted to see what he does in these high-pressure situations, the Green Bay Packers, the Detroit Lions, these next couple of weeks. And this is an area where Kirk Cousins has always come up a little bit short, and people have been giving him the title of not being able to perform in primetime. Well, Sam Darnold against not a ham and egg defense, a pretty good defense in the Green Bay Packers, goes 33 for 43. 33 for 43, 377 yards against the Green Bay Packers. 3 touchdowns and 1 interception. Where on that interception, I thought he held on to it a little bit too long. He gets bumped at the end, launches it. Green Bay Packer DB made a pretty good play on the ball, hence the interception. Sam Darnold played lights out. Lights out. Uh-oh, guys. I wasn't there. But when you have a quarterback that can play in these high-pressure moments with high-pressure expectation, it is what I wanted to see. I don't care about the stats. That's why when everybody was talking about QB rating with Sam Darnold and how many touchdowns he's thrown and how much yardage he's thrown for, I didn't want to hear that stuff. I didn't want to hear it. I just want to see you come with it in big moments. Big moments is where it's at. We've had stat stuff for quarterbacks before. I want to see you perform in big moments, and Sam Darnold came with it. There is no just getting around that. He was there and locked in all game and just dismantled the Green Bay Packer defense. And all the Packer fans that were chirping at me online, UP Nation putting stuff in the comments, where you at right now? Where you at right now with Sam Darnold just absolutely torching your defense? And if we could have hit some field goals, the score probably would have been worse and you wouldn't have had an opportunity to even get back in the game. We ate the cheese today. Sam Darnold was tooling. And let me give some credit to the Minnesota Vikings offensive line. So sometimes the offensive line can go unheralded because you look at all the skill position players, the throws by Sam Darnold, the catches by Jordan Addison, TJ Hawkinson. You kind of forget about the offensive line. Man, the offensive line held up well. And not only did they hold up well, but they held up well on certain passing plays. When you knew when it was 3rd and long and the Minnesota Vikings had to pass the football, where now the Green Bay Packers, they can pin their ears back and send all sort of blitzes. The pass protection was absolutely good today. The offensive line held up when we had a running back in the backfield to help with the pass blocking. Aaron Jones had some key blocks in terms of pass protection today. It helped Sam Darnold be able to have the game that he had today. Credit to the offensive line. Number 3, I got to give credit to my guy, JJ, man. We do not know how fortunate we are to have a guy like Justin Jefferson. Justin Jefferson, in this big game, where you know that he wants to do well, when you know he wants to show out, when you know he wants to get into the end zone and do the gritty, didn't have any targets in that first quarter. So it made you wonder, where is Justin Jefferson? When is he going to make a play? He's not even being targeted. And I think Tom Brady mentioned that during the broadcast, where there hasn't been really any targets for Justin Jefferson. But he's patient. This is not a guy that goes into these games when he's not getting the ball and gets in his quarterback face. Hey, man, you got to get me the ball, a.k.a. Stephon Diggs, and what he did to Allen in Buffalo. It's no wonder why Buffalo is flourishing, because they got that prima donna stuff out of there. Justin Jefferson is not a prima donna. He's patient. He understands what the defense is trying to do to him to take him away, and other people have to eat. And to have that patience and not put the pressure on your quarterback and the coaching staff to be able to get you the ball in these high-pressure situations helps Sam Darnold. So the thing that is not being done in terms of being a prima donna absolutely helps Sam Darnold. Because if Sam Darnold had that pressure, can you imagine having to force feed the ball to Justin Jefferson just to appease him and the coaches? He doesn't have that. Great environment, great culture. Great environment, great culture. Next thing, KOC, when he saw them playing that umbrella defense in terms of not letting things get downfield and rolling those safeties over the top, what did he do? He went to the quick game. I've been on the Minnesota Vikings for a long time about where's the quick game. Get Justin Jefferson involved in the quick game. What did KOC do? The coach of the year went to the quick game with Justin Jefferson and got him involved. It was just a great coaching adjustment. Justin Jefferson had 8 catches for 92 yards. Jalen Naylor came up big with some big catches, 5 catches for 81 yards. Jordan Addison did his thing, 6 catches for 69 yards. Then you had a little sprinkling of TJ Hawkinson, who came to play, 5 for 68 yards. Aaron Jones out of the backfield. Not only did he run for about 45 yards, but he caught 4 for 30 yards. You talk about using your personnel. And where's Jair Alexander? Every time they play the Vikes, you better put an APB out for Alexander, because every time they play the Vikes, he's not around. He's had one good game against Justin Jefferson. After that, he talked a lot of crap, and you haven't been able to see him on the field since. They need to put an APB out on him. Next, Skull Nation, UP Nation. Next, B-Flow's defense. And let me start, because I know there's going to be a lot of people online and maybe in the comments that's going to talk about B-Flow's defense. You've got to understand football. B-Flow's defense was lights out, and he put them in a position to be able to expand that lead early in the game. once it gets to the point where the Packers, when they start to get life on offense, this is just my thought. And maybe UP Nation, some of you guys may not agree with this, but you can't play that tight man-to-man defense and allow the Green Bay Packers to score the football quickly. You've got to be in some sort of shell, some sort of prevent defense to be able to keep bodies in front of you so now you can make the tackles and allow the clock to burn. It doesn't look sexy. It looks stupid. Why are the Minnesota Vikings giving all these Green Bay Packers wide receivers room? It is because they need to burn clock, and the worst thing that can happen in those situations is if you have the Green Bay Packers throw some sort of bomb because you're in tight, press or bump and run coverage, and they get a shot over the top with a capable quarterback in Jordan Love, and they score the ball within a second or not a second, but a minute of getting it, and now you're back on offense and they score quickly. It's the worst thing that you can have happen. You've got to be able, on the offensive side of the ball, continue to move the ball, and you got to take care of opportunities that present themselves to score, a.k.a. field goals. You've got to be able to hit those field goals to be able to expand the lead. If you don't do that, now you're putting the defense and B-Flow kind of in a quandary. How aggressive do you want to be? You have to have a scale in your head. Okay, do I want to press up on some of these wide receivers and take the chance of them scoring quickly? Or do I want to give them some cushion, keep the bodies in front of them so we can make the tackles, burn clock, and maybe we'll get a tip ball, maybe we'll get an errant throw, get an interception in there, what have you. I thought the defense played well. It didn't look good towards the end, but I understood the strategy, man. You've got to understand football. It doesn't look good. The optics of it doesn't look good, but it was the right play. I thought primarily for the game, they had held Jordan Love to about 65 yards until the end of the third quarter. 65 yards from Jordan Love, and then they held the unstoppable Josh Jacobs, who ran okay today, but he was 17 for 69, certainly wasn't dominant. Our run defense took care of him. Credit to B-Flow and the boys. Then Josh Jacobs got that touchdown with the Packers. They had to get him that touchdown to try to show up Aaron Jones. But again, Josh Jacobs did not have a day. Our defense took care of him. I am so proud of this football team. I am so proud of Sam Darnold. These are the type of games where when you talk about, our fan base and national media and stuff like that, you're always waiting for the other shoe to drop. And what I have been saying all along, I am waiting for us to get that franchise guy, for us to become that team where when we have these expectations and we have these moments that we find a way to come through. And if you look at what Sam Darnold did today, man, I was sitting watching the game with my wife, and I turned to her after a while and I said, man, Sam Darnold is dealing right now. Some of the tight window throws to Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison, T.J. Hawkinson, he probably would have went the game with 0 picks if he wouldn't have gotten bumped on that last pick. He was locked in, wasn't afraid of the moment. The lights were not too big. It is something that we have not had around here for a long time. It is, for me as a fan, when I evaluate a quarterback, these are the moments that mean the most to me. We've had quarterbacks that throw for 400 yards in the game. We've had quarterbacks that have thrown for multiple touchdowns in the game. But those same quarterbacks, those same ones, when the big moment arrives, they shrink. Think back to that New York Giants playoff game a couple of years ago. You shrink in the moments with your decision making. There was no shrinkage from Sam Darnold. This dude has been in big moments, whether it's a last drive of a game where we need to get in field goal range or we need a touchdown. I mean, just last week, the touchdown to Justin Jefferson. At the end of the game, he continues to make plays. The moment is not too big for him at all. You can say some of his throws could be a little reckless, but he's got the kahunas of King Kong. He is focused, man, and he's ready to go. You know, but back in the neighborhood, they would say he's straight up ball. Sam Darnold is straight up balling. I'm telling you right now. I don't know if you guys have seen the movie Warriors. If you haven't seen it, I recommend it. But at the end of the movie, you had the gang pulled up in their car. And the Warriors, they were underneath the boardwalk on the beach. And the guy rolls down his window and he had 3 bottles on his hand. And he started clinking them together. And I'm going to do this to the Detroit Lions fans and the Detroit Lions. Clink, clink, Lions come out and Lions come out to play. These Minnesota Vikings are serious. I'm not going to say Super Bowl, but if there was ever a team that we've had in the last decade that can make a run to the Super Bowl, it is this team. They are built like that. And they have a guy, as I said before, that has the kahunas of King Kong. And the throws that he made today, especially in that last position where KOC, credit to KOC, he didn't do the analytical thing in terms of, well, you know, we know we've got to run the ball to burn clock, because that's what I thought he was going to do. A lot of play action passes. Sam Darnold putting the ball where he needed to put it to make plays. One to C.J. Ham, to start the drive. And then my guy Cam Akers, that was not an easy catch at the end to seal the game. He could have very well dropped that ball, which a lot of free timeout for the Green Bay Packers, and it probably would have gave Green Bay a chance to get the ball back and do something with it in a 2-point game. You never know what can happen. But credit to KOC and his play calling. He gets a lot of heat from a lot of different places for his play calling. Sam Darnold made the throws, and the personnel made the catches. The Minnesota Vikings, man, 27 for 25. Let's look at some of these Green Bay Packers stats. Green Bay Packers, 19 for 30 for Jordan Love, 185 yards, and a lot of those were just cush yards at the end. I mean, his game didn't even look that good. You know, he shouldn't have even thrown for 100 yards today, but he padded his stats a little bit. Josh Jacobs, 17 for 69. He had his moments, but really wasn't as dominant and as unstoppable as everybody's trying to make him to be. Romeo Doubs led them in receiving yards, 70 for 58 yards. Man, the Green Bay Packers got dealt with. The Green Bay Packers got dealt with today, and I'm just sorry that the score, for people that didn't watch the game, I'm just sorry that the score does not reflect the ass whooping that the Minnesota Vikings gave the Green Bay Packers, because it was a straight up take them behind the shed type game in every respect until the end. Woo! The Minnesota Vikings, man, you're going to have to deal with them. You are going to have to deal with them. The Detroit Lions better be ready, because we're coming. I got a lot of family in Detroit. The Detroit Lions better be ready. Ford Field better be ready because the Minnesota Vikings and their fans, UP Nation, Skull Nation, Purple Nation, we travel well. We coming for you. We're coming for you, Golf. We're coming for you. The Minnesota Vikings move to 14-2. Can you believe it, man? 14-2. And we're knocking on the door to finish this thing out to secure the number 1 seed. And I hope there's going to be a lot of stupid moments from Dan Campbell during that game. Can he coach under pressure in that game, knowing what's on the line? I am going to say, book this. He's going to give the Minnesota Vikings at least a couple of opportunities just by doing stupid stuff, stupid play calls, because he's so big and bad and tough, and he's got a bunch of mad dogs in the meat locker eating raw meat, and they're going to be biting kneecaps and all the stuff that he likes to say. I got one thing to say to Dan Campbell, is that we're coming. We're coming, Dan. Hit that like and subscribe button, UP Nation. Let's continue to allow this station to grow so I can keep on sharing these experiences with you and pumping out the content. Again, the Minnesota Vikings, 27-25. Hit that like and subscribe button. Latrey, man, you know what to do. Take us home.
I don't know who I am. Can I say I'm a man? Am I losing my mind? Am I wasting my time? Do I know who I am? I don't know who I